Hi, I'm Ross Hudgens, founder of Siege Media, and today I want to share some of our best email marketing subject line best practices. We do a lot of email outreach here at Siege, sometimes send 1,000+ emails per week, and not spammy emails either, very targeted ones to get coverage and really high-end publications, and hopefully some of these tips can help you get some of those placements yourself. So the first is just a general framework of every subject line. As a general practice, I love asset type for website, name of the asset. So we kind of have it explained here on the whiteboard, but essentially the idea is if you have an infographic, you'd say infographic for Siege Media, best infographics of 2018 as the title. Essentially what this does is it's short, it's personalized, it sets expectation. You still have room to say something clever and get the good landing page experience of adding the subject at the end. And overall, it's punchy. People will get a lot of email spam in their inbox, and I think a good differentiator is to have the website in there. If you don't have a website, sometimes you can put their name if it's a personal blogger. But I prefer also putting website over everything else, because website in the subject line will actually nudge them to linking to you. There is something to personalize in saying their name, and you'll see that in a lot of email marketing best practices. But in SEO specifically, if you're trying to get that link, you don't want to be too aggressive and say, hey, link to me in your body many times. That just comes off aggressive. Normally I recommend share or something like that, but these subtle nudges can actually psychologically prime them to link to you. So I do like that in the subject line as a best practice. Again, asset type for website, and then the subject of your post or a shortened version of that post that's compelling. Next, I suggest you use the hierarchy of asset types when thinking about your subject line. What I mean by hierarchy of asset types is just generally people are gonna appeal more or like certain things more than others when you pitch them. So you want to leverage that preference when pitching them. So examples of that are interactive, news, data study, animation, guide, visual, those kinds of things in that order. Again, interactive, news, data study, animation, guide, visual, they have a lot of value in that order in terms of being more preferential and worthy of a click and a coverage as compared to something like blog posts. I also don't suggest using something like infographic, because generally that does not have a very high affinity around the general crowd. That doesn't mean you never do it, but it's valuable in the right space. I actually suggest to use visual over infographic in subject lines for multiple reasons. One, that very thing that they don't have a great reputation. So if you build a great one, I think people can look past that with that kind of inference. And then second, visual is just shorter than infographic. You have limited space in a subject line, so when you use that powerfully, you're gonna have a more effective subject line overall. So I prefer visual and just generally recommend not using infographic when you put that in your subject line. And next is to twist subject lines to align with the content and the person you're pitching. So I just mentioned that infographics are not something to use in subject lines, but I would actually contradict that if you're pitching a blog that covers infographics specifically, does it every Friday, say, or for specifically Design Taxi will cover infographics frequently. If you say that and you put infographic in the subject line, that more effectively communicates to their psychology of how they cover content. So if you can frame your subject line to appeal to that psychology and how they cover things, you're gonna do better. For example, if it's a news reporter, saying news makes sense. If it's a blogger, you want to say data study, because they don't really cover news. They might cover an infographic, they might randomly cover that kind of thing. It just makes more sense as an application. Similarly, if they have an animation of the day and you were going to say guide instead, you would want to say animation. Or maybe they have Friday links on Friday. You might say idea for your Friday links, blah, subject line. And those kind of things can trigger the psychology to make them know that you personalize to them specifically. So keep that in mind when thinking about the hierarchy and appealing it specifically to that blog or website to have even more effectiveness and get more opens and coverage overall from your content. And finally, is think about soft A/B. So when you're doing email outreach, you can't do a true A/B test besides on a macro level, because unless you're really spamming people and sending thousands of emails, you're not going to get to true statistical significance with your emails. So how we get across that kind of framework is that we actually test it within our team. So I would suggest sending emails, sending your email subject, your body as well, to your team and actually get their feedback on their preferred subject lines. It's kind of a soft way to get feedback on your subject line and get the highest performing one is by testing through that audience. Because if you're using even great tools like BuzzStream, you're not going to have true confidence in whatever you're sending unless you're sending a ton of those same kind of emails for whatever reason, and most people are just not going to do that. And to summarize, get more value out of email subject lines when pitching content, and that is to use the asset type for website title framework. Also to utilize the hierarchy of asset types, twist subject lines to align with the people you're pitching, and also do soft A/B tests with your team to get their opinion on the best subject lines overall. So hope you got a lot of value out of this video. If you like it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and let me know what you thought of it. Thanks for watching.